Ah, the James Bond movies. How I remember waking up as a kid, getting in the couch, bunch of chips, and watching a marathon back in the late 90s. I still watch them now to this day on Blu-ray. While there has been many imitators along the years, none have actually been great at reinventing and also keeping up with the traditions of the predecessor. Not until now. Welcome to Dumb Down, a show where we watch movies, summarize them in hopes of understanding them better. Today, we got to dumb down 2 movies for the price of 1. The Kingsman Duology. A clever series of movies that have action, espionage, modern tech, and kick-ass villains, and hench characters that are probably the closest you'll get to a modern up-to-date James Bond series. The story starts with the Kingsman Secret Service. A young boy named Eggsy, what a weird name, gets a small medallion from a tall gentleman, who's played by Colin Firth. He says he knew his father, who passed away, tells him to take care of his mom and take care of this medallion, and that when he's older, he will understand. Fast forward several years, Eggsy is your exemplary citizen. Actually, that's a lie. He gets into a lot of fights, he steals cars, and gets arrested. But it just so happens that Eggsy has the medallion with him at this exact moment when he gets arrested. And he remembers the moment when he was a kid and decides to make a call, and voila, he gets out of prison.
Wow, how convenient is fucking that?
Meanwhile, outside is the tall man from the beginning of the movie who hasn't aged a day and takes him under his wing and trains him to become a Kingsman. But before he does, he takes Eggsy to the same bar where he got in trouble at the beginning of the film, and surprise, surprise, the same men are there and they're not very happy. But the tall gentleman is fully capable of the art of smacking people. So with that said, get ready, because a lot of people are about to get smacked tonight.
Someone's gonna get smacked tonight. Gotta be you. Gotta get whacked tonight. Gotta be you. Someone's gonna get slapped tonight from me. And it's gonna be you. Sorry about that.
Afterwards, Eggsy gets to see the tailor shop with all the cool gadgets that he can use if he passes all the exams. Now you might be asking, why did they choose Eggsy? All of this is to replace an agent that was killed in the line of duty earlier in the film. Not just killed, but he was cut in half like butter by a villain played by Sofia Boutella. So he goes through several tests. Some are harder than others. He has to compete with other kids for the title of Kingsman. Some tests involve being drowned, and there's others that are even more difficult even though they seem very simple, like trying to kill a dog. Oh, I forgot to tell you, Samuel L. Jackson plays the villain in this film. A crazy millionaire who wants to give away a bunch of chips that grant people free internet. Thing is that he wants to use that sort of microwave emitter that gets people all crazy and shit. He's trying to control the population. At the same time, he's implanting chips into senators and other politicians that are on board with the evil plan, protecting them from the effects of cell phone signals. Come to think of it, kind of sounds like what Alex Jones was talking about, with 5G. Maybe he was right.
Big 5G!
You're on fire.
No joke. Joe, the 5G.
You're on fire.
Okay.
5G
Remember how I
is the
told you
new
there was a
internet
BBC
protocol.
article in 96 about human-animal hybrids with pigs and cows?
No, never mind. He's still crazy. Sam Jackson's plan is so effective that he makes a tall gentleman and a whole bunch of people in the church start killing each other in what I can describe as the best scene of the movie.
Murder! What a fucking shame! Murder! See the bitch of blame! Murder! This is fucking life! Fucking murderer! Fuck you!
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
After the massacre, Sam Jackson just walks up to him and straight shoots him in the head. Eggsy now wants revenge. I mean, I would too if they killed the guy that trained me throughout the whole movie and taught me everything that I know so far. So Eggsy gets on board with the bald guy and they go in to save the day from Samuel L. Jackson's evil plan. Oh, and Eggsy finds out that Michael Caine, I forgot to tell you, Michael Caine's in this movie, he was a baddie all along. He poisons him, end of story. So with that said, let's go with the main event and the final fight, which is pretty badass.
Cut, time to end this. Gun, I cannot miss. Jan, Bjorn, in this ultimate battle. I'll never stop, no matter what the world may say.
Eggsy kills the whole evil squadron, but he still needs to defeat the henchwoman played by the lovely Sofia Boutella. Also, around the world, you have all these people trying to kill each other because of the cell phone microwave emitter. Eggsy eventually kills Boutella and Sam Jackson, and the chip that's implanted on the politician goes off thanks to the bald agent, thus killing all the bad guys. But I started asking myself, maybe not all these people who were implanted with chips were bad. I mean, why did they sign up to begin with? What was the benefit of all of it?
Stop asking so many fucking questions.
So they all die. Eggsy saves the day and gets the girl at the end. This girl who was held prisoner because she was the only person who wasn't on board with the whole cell phone thing, and she didn't want it to be implanted with a chip. So she was held prisoner. So they live happily ever after. Well, not for long, because now we have to go into part 2, Kingsman, the Golden Circle. One of the agents who was training with Eggsy in the first film decides to join the bad guys. His metallic hand, because he lost his hand in the first movie, I forgot to tell you that, he lost his hand. He has a metallic hand, he loses the metallic hand finds its way into Eggsy's car and hacks into the Kingsman system and exposes every agent. And by exposing everyone gets killed. Literally, they kill the whole Kingsman. They even explode the main building. The only survivors are Eggsy and the bald guy, who decide to go in a hideout in case of a terrible scenarios like the one you just witnessed. This hideout has a special bottle of whiskey that they luckily drink all, because if they didn't, they would have found out that it was actually distilled in Kentucky, which leads them to travel over there to meet the statesman.
I think we're going to Kentucky.
Which is the same thing as Kingsman, but in the US. So they join forces to stop a new villain. This time it's played by Julianne Moore, and she's heavily obsessed with 50s nostalgia. Like, everything looks like it's from the 1950s. Even the way she walks and talks is so politely creepy.
Kingsman is crumpet.
Her plan is even more bonkers and makes less sense than what Alex Jones was talking about, in regards to 5G. She wants to get people hooked on a drug that's highly addictive. In doing so, people will be lending themselves to her ransom plan, a drug that paralyzes you and eventually kills you. She even gives a little neat presentation of the stages.
I have an antidote. 100% effective and ready to ship out worldwide at a moment's notice.
What is her request? To have the president legalize all drugs, which makes no freaking sense because she's a drug dealer. Like, how will she make money after the fact? By giving everyone an antidote, you're now vulnerable. How is this a plan?
Stop asking so many fucking questions.
Okay, fine. So the Kingsmen go on to stop the evildoer. Ooh, scary. And we're dropped with the mother of all twist. Colin, the tall gentleman from the first movie who got shot in the head by Samuel L. Jackson, is somehow alive.
You lie!
Nope, no lies. And you might be asking, how? How did he survive this when it was evident that he got shot in the head? Well, right afterwards, the statesman had come in and applied this weird sort of thing in his head that expands. I'm not even going to ask how it works, because I know what happens when I ask too many questions. Meanwhile, we get a cool shootout, also a pretty badass scene involving a laser lasso.
Someone's gonna get slapped tonight. Gotta be you. Gotta get whacked tonight. Gotta be you. Someone's gonna get slapped tonight from me. And it's gonna be you.
I gotta get me one of those.
Eventually, they kill the lasso guy because he betrayed them, the bald guy sacrifices himself to save his friends, and Elton John kicks ass. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, he's in the movie. Don't ask, it's just cool.
Hold me closer, tiny dancer. Count the headlights on the highway. Lay me down in sheets of linen. You had a busy day today. Well, hold me closer, tiny dancer, and count the headlights on the highway. Lay me down in sheets of linen. You had a busy day today.
If I save the world, can I have 2 tickets to your next concert?
Darling, if you save the world, you can have a backstage pass.
After killing everything around them, even robot dogs, they manage to get the password they need to let the antidote out. They kill Julianne Moore and save the day.
Yes!
As bonkers as all of this sounds, these two movies are actually super fun and great homages to spy movies like James Bond and I Spy and Mission Impossible, and while at the same time, they created their own identity. These were the Kingsman movies dumbed down. Make sure to like this video, share with your friends, make sure to also follow us on Instagram and Facebook, and until next time.
See ya! Bye!
Get the fuck out of here now.